Sam, another question. We hear of new trends in leadership with respect to global delivery. Have you observed any that you could share with us?
There is a lot going on out there, Divya. The changes are so many and it is so rapid that whatever got you here won't get you there, as Marshall Goldsmith reminds us all. One thing I have seen for sure, it's no longer enough to have great depth of knowledge. This guy is an expert, brain surgeon, is great in some fields, but in many other fields, particularly in the field of commerce, it's not enough to have domain expertise. Of course, domain expertise is vital, and you better have it. But that's just a ticket to the game. It's a ticket to the ball game. It lets you in. It does not ensure you success. It lets you play the game, but it doesn't ensure that you will be successful. And that's a very, very important thing to consider. Along with depth of knowledge, you require width of knowledge. And what do we mean by width of knowledge? Well, width, broadly speaking, is knowing a lot about a number of things. It's almost, what they call the genius of the and. I know this and that, instead of what Jim Collins, I think, calls it the tyranny of the or. That it is this or that. That this or that doesn't work in this new world of leadership. Really, you need the and instead of the or, and that's a real issue. As people take greater responsibility in today's world, they are faced with things that they were completely unprepared for. For instance, ambiguity. Nothing is certain, nothing is clear, not all information is ever available. So you have to operate in some kind of ambiguity, and you have to learn to separate the veil, to somehow or the other clear the veil and see what you can find as a path. So path finding is a very, very important thing. And along with ambiguity comes uncertainty. Because you're not sure whether this path that you take will help you succeed or not. And I think Jack Welch put it beautifully, no one knows anyway until you try it. Try it. If it works, soar with it. If it doesn't work, quickly disengage and try something else. You cannot say that, I need all information before I take action. And that's one big thing. To operate under conditions of ambiguity is very, very important. The other thing is you're often required to deal with people who have completely opposing views about a subject. And they may both be right. And that's very, very distressing to many of us. This is the way I think, and if I think this way, the sun rises in the east, and that's the way I believe it. If somebody comes and says, maybe, sun rises in the northeast, I tend to simply brush it aside. What we need to understand is maybe something has changed today that has caused the sun to maybe move a little bit from its axis, and maybe it is a bit of northeast. So being able to hold opposing views, someone says this is right, someone says this is completely wrong, and you have no idea of who is right or who is wrong, it generally means that the set of circumstances surrounding that situation will determine whether it is right or wrong. So this really, leads me to think that you require a great amount of listening skills to be able to listen carefully to what the other person or other party is saying. Rapid decision making, that's another new phenomenon, speed, velocity. Corporate velocity is important now. How quickly can you take a decision? Because windows of opportunities are very narrow. And if you don't grab those opportunities, like the wings of a fluttering butterfly, they're gone. Those opportunities are gone. And someone else will get, the early bird gets the worm is really a truism. The other thing to remember is, in the past, until even 20 years ago or 15 years ago, the parameters that determined success for organizations were size, how big you are you part of the Fortune 100 in terms of market capitalization or things like that. How clear is everyone's role? So role clarity was an important thing. how specialized you were. You know, we talked about it, you know, domain knowledge. How much specialization do you have? And how great a control do you have over your operations? So you had size, role clarity, specialization, and control as the dashboard of yesteryear. The dashboard of the new era is speed, flexibility, integration, and innovation. Speed is how quickly. In fact, the smaller you are, the faster you can be. So even if you're a large company, you have to have a small company soul in that large company body. So speed is important. Flexibility, how quickly can you change direction? How quickly can you, I was doing this, I've got to give it up because it's not working. How quickly can I move, the axis and change? How well can I integrate different units? How can I bring different units together to really help the customer? And ultimately, am I innovating? Am I doing things that we have not done before? So is 30% of my profits coming from products or services that are less than 2 years old? That kind of stuff is very, very important. So these are some of the new trends in leadership. So a CEO or a leader in today's world has to keep these things in mind, and probably a better chance of success. So ask yourself the question, to round this off, I might say, am I credible? What amount of credibility do I bring to the table? If I have to be working in this new environment as a leader, I have to be highly credible. I have to be highly reliable. And along with reliability, I need to know, am I building a degree of intimacy with those who matter? They could be clients, they could be my superiors, they could be my peers, whoever, they could be my people who report to me. Am I building a greater degree of intimacy which will really allow me to ask at will what I want, and the others will then respond? That's the new mantra of leadership in today's world.